Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. How are you all doing on a Tuesday evening? Celtic tomorrow night play Dundee United. Celtic away days to Dundee United are always a hard game. It's never been an easy game away to Dundee United. Big shout out to Celtic Girl for her super chat. There's a couple of super chats. We'll acknowledge them before we go any further on with the proceedings tonight. Danny Cassie's in the house. Danny Cassie, fantastic supporter of the channel. And Celtic Girl Jota. She's up with the £5 super chat. You need to put more comments in the super chat because that's the one way to get noticed on the super chats. Anyway, Celtic news tonight. It is all about tomorrow evening, and it's all about players that may leave in January, isn't it? There's a lot of speculation about certain players that will leave in January, certain players that may not leave in January. Is it good news about Jota? Let's do a post. Is it? Daniel straight in. Daniel, what age are you? Out of interest. Worst manager of my lifetime. Not one redeeming quality about him. Really worried about what's ahead. I don't mean it in a condescending manner, Daniel, but what age are you? Because I've had a lot worse managers in my lifetime. A lot worse, trust me, than this current one. And it may not look good at the moment. And by no means am I trying to defend this manager because he is up against it. This man, I'm definitely not his biggest fan, but what I will say is that he's not the worst manager that I've ever seen in my lifetime as a Celtic fan. So it'd be good to let me see what. Yes, I'm doing a watch along tomorrow, and Nord Celtic. We are doing a watch along tomorrow. Back to normal. It may not have the all singing and dancing screen. This guy is clueless. It's interesting. Who's worse, mate? Tony Mowbray. I could go back to the 1990s to definitely see Celtic in a very worse time. If he does take us down to where we were in the early to mid 90s, to fourth, fifth, and maybe even sixth position in the league, then you could maybe say he's one of the worst managers. Super chat from Welling United fan. Big shout out to put a comment in when you do the super chats. It's a lot easier. You get the comment read out. Do you believe in him with 10 good players? Oh, that was an interesting. Where did that go to? Mowbray started better. I don't think it's about how you start at Celtic. It's how you finish. I still have a belief that this manager may be able to turn it. Listen, it's in the. I'm going to go against the grain tonight, right? And I'm going to let you think of a different perspective. I think it's always important, especially when I'm sitting this side of the screen, that we could all jump onto YouTube and I could go down the narrative of get him out, is this, is that, and the next thing. But you have to offer something alternative. I'm always a big fan of offering an alternative, and there's that comment. Mowbray started better, but Mowbray ultimately finished worse. What if he gets the win tomorrow? What if he then gets to the next window? And hear me out here. The reason I think that it will be important for him to get to the next window, because this board will not want to fail. They've already planned and they've failed to plan. They failed to plan for the event that Brendan Rodgers would leave Celtic early. They've done that. They've failed their planning. They seemingly did their due diligence on this manager. Whoever interviewed him must have been asleep at the wheel, or high on drugs, or drunk, or snorting some kind of thing that he thought it was maybe cocaine at the time. and thought Wilfred Nancy was fucking bee's knees. But until this guy has a monumental, complete failure at Celtic, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the reason I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until we get to the next window, if results continue, and it comes with a caveat, that if results continue to be as bad, if he does not change his mind, if he does think that he is the fucking messiah, and he says, no, this is the way that we play football, well, hell mend him. He'll not see one morning in July, never mind walking through Tipperary, because he'll not even see one January at Celtic. And it's weird that we. I just hope to. I hope we get the win tomorrow night. But anyway, there's big news about Celtic players that could be leaving the building, and there is up to 5 players that could be leaving Celtic in the next window. And that's something that we've obviously been told that Dyson Maeda is not going to leave Celtic, and I was going to do a poll question. Let me just do a quick poll question to see how you feel about this evolving situation. Is Dyson Maeda staying till the end of the season a good thing? Tell me in the comment section. How's that jumped down? How did that do that? That was a bit weird. Let's lock that in position. There we go. Shouldn't do that again. Do you think that Dyson Maeda staying to the end of the season is a good thing? Now remember, when we get to the end of the season, Dyson Maeda will only have 1 year left on his contract. Take that into consideration before you have your votes, although there's 62 votes already flying in the door. And it's good to see quite a number of people on the live tonight. Did I hear about the meeting last night? No, I was travelling yesterday. Was it the meeting with the players? I didn't hear about the meeting last night. Ay, ay, ay. Dan, add a message. Oh, there's a super chat. Dan Cassie for his super chat. Let's get a super chat on screen. Dan Cassie says more, not any super chats. But anyway, make sure that you add a message to the super chat, because it does flash up on the screen when I have a super chat, and it's the easiest way to get your message noticed. Nancy's not that bad. Our players are not good enough. That's the way that a certain ex-Celtic player is going down. That's the road that he's going down. And Chris Sutton talking about that the players aren't good enough. Is that disrespectful to the players that have won 4 titles in a row? Maybe that should have been the question. Is the likes of Chris Sutton being disrespectful to current players at Celtic that have won 4 titles in a row, telling them they are not good enough to play the Wilfred Nancy system? There's a lot you could talk for hours about this kind of stuff, and no one will agree. That's one thing that we can all agree on, that no one will agree, especially when you look at the votes. Is Dyson Maeda staying until the end of the season a good thing? 54% say yes, 64% said no in the comments. Anyway, other than Dyson Maeda not now leaving Celtic, he wants to stay on until the summer, until he plays in the World Cup. Yang, it looks like Yang might be away in the summer. There's also speculation that Mikel and Balak Wisha, Mikel Ange, who Celtic chased for 2 years, despite being a £5.2 million arrival, has the fact that he's failed. I don't know if I go along with this thing that because Michelangelo hasn't done it in his first 6 months at Celtic. Nico Kuhn didn't do it his first 6 months at Celtic. It took Nico Kuhn just over a year for him to click at Celtic. And then he only clicked at Celtic for half a season. I think the big question should be, what ultimately do we expect as Celtic fans from players? And not only players, but from a manager. Where do we really see ourselves in the hierarchy of needs of European football? Where ultimately do we see ourselves in the hierarchy of Scottish football? And that is ultimately champions. When you look at players that have come in, they're nowhere near the standard of players that have been at Celtic over the last 20 years. I mean, you could talk about the likes of Didier Agat, who was brought in for £50,000 and who had the pace of a steam train. Are you okay there? When you're thinking the likes of Didier Agat, who come in for 50 grand and ultimately had had a fantastic time at Celtic. Hi, Stephen Johnson. No, Stephen Johnson just says no. And I've lost for what you were talking about, Stephen, but I'll catch up at some point. A lot of people saying this guy is go, enough is enough. When is enough? Well, there's a question for you. When is enough? I put in, I put out on videos in this community last week when it started going tits up before the cup final. This was not a reaction to the cup final. I said to the Celtic fans, would you be willing to take a hit on losing the league, losing the cup final, maybe scraping through at the end of the season for the Scottish Cup? Would you be prepared to take that on the chin to get rid of board members? And there was a divide in the support. There was the divide in the Celtic support saying, yes, I would take that on the chin if it's going to get rid of Lawwell, if it's going to get rid of Nicholson, Mackay, Tisdale. But you still have one issue, and that's the elephant in the room. Well, maybe not the elephant in the room because he's never in the room. It's the elephant spawn that's in the room. And until we get rid of Dermot Desmond, which isn't going to happen anytime soon. Now, I see a lot of stuff from Celtic people that sit in certain areas of Celtic Park, and they are very, very aligned with the fact that you're not going to get rid of Dermot Desmond soon. They may not be his biggest fan, and they're definitely not his biggest fan, but they know the financial situation of the club. They know the way that the club is run. I met a blazer coming out of Celtic of the Columbus club today. After the answer would be the focus at his feet, he says he couldn't answer that as he didn't know. I don't know any use of asking a Columbus Crew member of staff. He's not winning games. Yeah, I know he's not winning any games, but as much as I think that we need something to happen, I'm not sure that being as reactive as what we are as fans and chasing this guy at the door is probably the best thing for the long-term stability of the club. There's a lot needs to change for the long-term stability of the club. A lot of things that we would like to happen. But like I've said before, we don't have a sugar daddy out there We don't have the sugar daddy in the means of a Fergus McCann to come in. There's no saviour out there. It's reality check. Drop the mic. Boom. Sorry if I'm the one to tell you, but on a Tuesday night, on the 16th of December, as it stands, there's nobody standing outside Celtic Park saying, sell me your shares. I have the money. Maybe if I go and put on El fucking big lottery and win that in Spain and win 150 million, I might have the money then to go to Dermot. Look, there's 100 million. Take it and fuck off. But then that leaves me with no money to invest in the club, and then the club's still running at the exact same position that it's in, self-funded, and that's the way that the clubs have to be run. There is no one there. No one. As it stands, we can all sing, shout, sack the board. We can all say, not another penny. I agree with to a certain extent, but where's the sugar daddy? Let's be real. Let's just be honest. Do you know, it's meant to be a Celtic family. See, with family, and especially when I think of my family, right? You can have disagreements and you can have arguments, and then you'll sit around the dinner table, and you have Sunday dinner, and you get on with it. And I always remember growing up, is that if you had an issue, if you had a problem, it never was a big problem and it was never a secret. Do you know, if you had something that was fucking bothering you, and it was never a big issue, because when you've got 3 brothers, a sister, a mum and dad, and half a dozen cousins, aunties and uncles, and everything added onto it, do you know, that's what the Celtic family is. And we're not given an alternative. And that's the sad point about where Celtic are at the moment. We don't have that alternative that we can offer up. We can stand and do you know what it's like? And some people will hate this. It's like we're disobedient kids standing at the doorstep and going, I want my club back. You can get it back. Drop in 50 million to buy Dermot Desmond shares, 80 million just to fucking get them out the door, and then you can get your club back. Standing protesting and going, sack the board, sack the board. That worked in the 1990s because we had a sugar daddy. There's no sugar daddy. And that's the only thing that gets me, is the only way that you're going to get Dermot to force to sell his shares, the only way that you're going to get him to force to sell his shares is by offering him a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of money. And that's the reality of the situation. But anyway, talking about the manager, the fact that he's lost the fans, never mind the fact that, the players are going to come out in public and say, look, he's not lost the dressing room. Who's turned the club against us? Dermot. Bass mad boycotts, buy season tickets for next season, the rest of the season, make the guy sell. I don't think that even that would be enough. These people that run businesses like him and boycotting and would only force him to sell to the right person. What you need is somebody to come in and go, I will offer you over market value. Over market value. It's the only way to get rid of him. There is no way that he's going to. If the shares are, say, £118 a share, £111 a share, 111, we'll go with that narrative. If they're £111 a share, and someone comes in and says, Dermot, you don't need this shite. Your son doesn't need it. Do you know what I mean? You're getting on a bit. I'll give you 100 per share. He's going to go, fuck off. The fuck would I do that for? You fucking crazy. There's only one way that you're going to get this type of person out of the club, and is going in and giving them 125% to the valuation of the share. And that's never going to happen at Celtic. And we're going to be left with the situation 6 months down the line come the summer that Dermot Desmond's still in control, Peter Lawwell will still be there, Michael Nicholson will still be there. All we've done is hit the finances of the club. But if we're happy with that, that's fine. We need to get away to get the fucking troublemaker. It's like having a bully at high school. The bully was always the biggest guy. Well, sometimes you need a wee guy to come up and just throat punch the big guy, and to get rid of Dermot. And the only way that you do that with Dermot when you're at that level of financing is to have a wee guy that's going to come in and go, right, there you go, there's 125% of the valuation of your shares, get to fuck. And then that gives them something to think about. But then that wee guy has also got to have the financial know-how to take the club to the next level. He's also got to have the connections within football to bring in the type of people that can take the club to the next level. He's also got to have people that are Celtic minded, that know that you cannot lose 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row with a new manager and have that acceptable. We've all clamoured for change with formation. I was the biggest one for it. I was like, Celtic should be playing 3-5-2. But you should only be playing 3-5-2 when you have the players. And the biggest issue, and this is what it comes down to, the biggest issue that we have with Wilfred Nancy is that he did too much too soon. He did far too much too soon. If Wilfred Nancy had come into Celtic and went, and I think he's been very, very disrespectful to Martin O'Neill to have only had a 15-minute conversation with Martin O'Neill. I think if Martin O'Neill had told us this, if the media had told us this way before, I think that Martin O'Neill has been very diplomatic. But to give Martin O'Neill 15 minutes a year time, when he's such a legend of the club, when he is such a gentleman that come in and didn't make a big song or dance about it. 73-year-old man. It tells me a lot more about Wilfred Nancy. The fact that, and that's it's interesting because I currently stay in a place that is very family oriented and gives a lot of respect to the elders, the elderly generation. And the fact that I'm not too sure if the French are as family orientated and friendly as maybe the Spanish, but the fact that Wilfred Nancy's come in and only give Martin O'Neill a 15-minute conversation, and he didn't ask Martin O'Neill about what he found out about the players when he come in. Martin O'Neill, in his grace, in his old age, if he had asked me questions, I would have answered them. But he didn't. And that ultimately is what got the alarm bells ringing for me even more. Not only losing the cup final, not only losing the cup final was always going to be something that would take the Celtic fans up to DEFCON 9 or whatever. But when Martin O'Neill come out and said that ultimately he only spoke to me for 15 minutes, and if he had asked me more, I would have told him. That tells you more about the man and the fact that here's an interesting comment. Michael Boy says, Baz, what's getting me is the so-called Celtic fans on social saying, I hope we get beat tomorrow so they can get rid of the manager. Where is this Celtic through and through? Aye. Brian says, what are we supposed to do? We can't force anybody to come forward with money, for fuck's sake. Fed up listening. Some people are fed up of reality. That's the reality, Brian. Don't know. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. But yeah, Celtic fans through and through. Nancy won't work out because MLSL is statistic to the Bundesliga. Scottish football is nothing like it. Interesting. Right. There's an interesting one. Make the club suffer financially to a point like in 1994 where Desmond has to sell. Who does he sell to? This is what I'm asking. Where is the sugar daddy? Where is the Arabian sheik? There's nobody standing up. We need. We can all make the club financially suffer. Yes. Okay, I'm all for that. How does the club recover? Nobody's given me. I've done over my years. I've done enough financial projections for companies and business plans over the years that you have to have a proper business plan. You have to have a 1, 3, and 5 year plan coming into Celtic. If you make the club suffer, so here's the topic talker. Sorry. If you make the club financially suffer, we have to recoup the losses somehow. So to recoup the cost is the first thing that usually goes is the wage bill. So the wage bill has to reduce. We then go into a period of managed decline. The managed decline means that we buy in cheaper players and then we try to sell them on for a profit the way that we've been running the business convincingly over the last 25 years. We then bring in a cheaper manager because paying a manager $3 million a year is not sustainable. Having a wage bill of 74 million is not sustainable. So you then lose Celtic staff in the background. Fair enough, you can lose people of the Celtic media team. Folk will have to do more work. Fair play. You then lose managers out of departments. You lose other staff within Celtic. You then take Celtic of being a club that has the potential to be hierarchy of Champions League football to Conference League football run level. It then takes a 3 to 5 year plan to then build that back up. The exact same way that it took 3 to 5 years for Fergus McCann. Fergus McCann had a 5-year business plan. Take the club, get rid of the debt, build a stadium, win the league, sell the club. Simple. It's the way that business works. And until someone comes in and offers up that kind of scenario, who's going to buy the Celtic shares? And this is all I'm asking, mate. It's I'm not asking fucking rocket science questions. I'm just putting out there that we need someone to step up and play, as the fucking song goes. And until we get that, it's a hard situation that Celtic find themselves in. Anyway, it's not what the video was meant to be about tonight, but it is the way that it's going. Anyway, back to the poll question. Is Dyson Maeda staying until the end of the season a good thing? And that's split down the middle with fans as well. 214 votes, 53% say yes, 47% say no. It's not a good thing. And I get the side of the no. I totally get the side of the no. If you leave him with 1 year to go on his contract, he's only going to be worth about 5 to 8 million. So much for getting 25 million for Dyson Maeda. Do you know all the chat in the summer? Get 25 million for Dyson Maeda. You're not going to get nowhere near that now. And if this is another thing that you need to think of. If you're going to financially suffer the club, not only are you going to impair the club financially in spending ability, in wages, transfer fees, but then it's what you get for players also. Do you know? Michelle says, Rangers song. I'll tell you a story about that, Michelle. I'll text you. I have shares? No, my brother has shares in Celtic. I went to one of the share events back in the day, and it was the very first time that I met um, Peter Lawwell. And let's just say that I didn't buy shares because I didn't see the value of not getting a return on your shares. When you invest, I've got shares in all sorts, Google and stuff, and they give you a return on your investment. Celtic is a type of share that you buy where the ordinary shares, the shares that they're willing to sell to me and you don't get paid a dividend. And people say, well, why would you want to take a dividend out of the club? You don't take a dividend. You take the dividend and you reinvest the dividend back into other shares, which then accumulates more and more shares over the years. This is how the rich make money. They never take the dividend. They buy more shares with the dividend. But I didn't see it as a great type of investment. The players' prices have dropped dramatically. Yes, they have that. Where's that comment? Let me just go through all these. Sorry, there's been 554 comments. Celtic are not attractive right now. Infighting fans. Manager would, of course, does. Yeah. Stadium. Exactly. Do you know what? I need to go back and. Where is that comment? That is the best comment of the evening. Start that because that's a good one. Yeah, who's going to buy Celtic for? Say it takes 80 million to get rid of Dermot Desmond to get him to sell these shares. You then have to look at it's going to cost 110 million to upgrade the main stand. There's then other upgrades that we'll need around the stadium at the same time as the main stand. So you bring the rest of the stadium up to the standard of the main stand. You're talking, say, 150 million. Celtic aren't going to. We only make 20 million, 30 million profit a year. There's your 5-year plan. There's your 150 million spend. Say you come in and you go, you've got 150 million. You win the Euro Millions. And you go, I'm going to pump this 150 million into Celtic. And you go, you're going to do the X, Y, and Z with it. It's going to take you 5 to 6 years, even longer, to get your money back. And don't get me, why would you want your money back? Because that's the way that business works. You don't get money for nothing. You can't get money for nothing, especially in the modern day. So yeah, Celtic are not attractive right now. Fans infighting, etc. Manager, stadium needs upgraded. Fantastic comment, mate. Fantastic comment. Whole team has been bad since the Bayern game. Some have down tools. Well, then that leads back to the question: is it Dies and Maeda has to be included in that? Talking about players at down tools, is Dies and Maeda staying to the end of the season a good thing for Celtic, or is it a good thing for the player? I think it's a good thing for the player because he'll then have, if he gets games in the World Cup, just like a certain fullback for Celtic, he got noticed before the World Cup. He excelled at the World Cup, and Celtic went in and bought him. Celtic is an extra special club, not a US strawberry tango that costs $2.5 million. Yeah, they're an extra special club, but they do not have the finances or the ability to finance to take us up to top level European Champions League football stuff. We will never have an Ajax type arena. We'll never have a new Barcelona type arena. We'll never have a new Real Madrid type arena under the constraints of Scottish football. That's the reality of where we are in Scotland. For Celtic to have the type of arena that we're talking about that is world class, you're talking about knocking the whole thing down and starting again. We are not Barcelona. We do not have the funds or the potential funds to be able to invest in such a project, as they would say, from a financial point of view. We need to get right off this season. We need to get the deadwood out, give Nancy a chance. But I thought we got all the deadwood out. I thought we got all the deadwood out of the club. I mean, when you look at the playing staff at the moment at the club, when you look at the players that we have, I don't know if I'll go into this. If you look at the players that we have, there's your three goalkeepers. Now, Kasper Schmeichel passed it. He needs to go. He needs to be dropped. Sinisalo needs to play from now to the end of the season. Ross Dohan was brought in as a number three, number two goalkeeper. When you look at the defenders that we have, Alistair Johnston out till who knows when. Jemai Simpson-Pusey. What is the point of having that kid at the club? Scales, he seems to have went into bomb scare mode. For somebody that was having such a good season, he was having a fantastic season until Wilfred Nancy came in. And then it's somebody pressed bomb scare. You look at Austin Trusty. Scales and Trusty are the only two centre defenders that we have at the club. Hello? Wake up. You've then got Cameron Carter-Vickers, who's out until the end of the season. You've got Hateo Inamura, who's going to be sold in the next window. You've then got Marcelo Sarachi, who has been called in South America the bad apple of the dressing room, hence the reason it was sold on. You've then got Dane Murray as backup defender. A lot of Celtic fans don't fancy Dane Murray because he's young, he's Scottish, and he's not deemed acceptable enough as Celtic standard. Sound familiar? Mikey Johnson. And you've then got Colby Donovan, one of the young bright sparks of the season. Even though he's youthful and inexperienced at this level, he was playing in the B team. Colby Donovan gets pass marks for me because he was playing in the B team just 3-4 months ago. We should not be putting the pressure, any type of pressure, on Colby Donovan at all. Anthony Ralston, Kieran Tierney. Anthony Ralston came through the system the exact same time as Kieran Tierney. He stayed at Celtic over the years. Kieran Tierney went away, made his millions, came back. The bricky, the black eye. He might not be fit for the weekend, but he is there at Celtic. That's your defence. That's your defence at Celtic. It's nothing to write home about. And then we get to the midfield. Benji Nygren. Benji, who cost 1.75 million, who turns out it was good value for money at the beginning of the season. What happened to him? Luke McCowan, who's been thrust in front of the camera because the manager thinks that he should be playing fullback. And Luke says, if that's the fucking case, I'm off, mate. Just get me another club. I'll get my agent to get another club at the transfer window. I ain't no defender. Arne Engels gets a lot of stick because of his price tag. He's only 22-year-old. Paulo Bernardo, a few years older than him, can't get a game for Celtic. And ultimately, does he have what it takes to take over from... Just seen that comment, Fave Chilpill. Does he have what it takes to take over from Callum McGregor, who's getting a bit past it and has only got 2 years left on his Celtic contract after this season? Just saying. Rio Hatate, the enigma. 1 week he's absolutely woeful. The next week he's absolutely... yes, we can all say it. Fantastic. Then it gets to the forwards. Ran out of water. Jota out injured. Mikalanj Balikwisha, whoever scouted him for 2.5 years needs shot. Yang, he'll be gone in the next window. He may stay around to the summer just for the piss take. And then you've got Kelechi and Iacho. Sick note, hamstring. Past it. Never a Celtic player. Good in spells, but just doesn't have the fitness. Yin Shin Yamada. Get your chopsticks at the ready because nobody knows where he is. He might be having some sushi somewhere. And then you've got to feel for Callum Osmond. Was one bright spark under the Martin O'Neill era. Callum Osmond picks up a hamstring. A terrible hamstring injury that keeps him out to the end of the season. Sebastian Tenetti waved his farewell. I'm all off the sunny. He's away to play in the African Nations Cup. And then you've got Johnny Kenny. And for all the good and the bright stuff that came around from Johnny Kenny, for all the good stuff that came from Johnny Kenny, he seems to be struggling right now with, I'm not too sure what. And then you look at the other options up front. Dyson Maida is your only striker at Celtic. Never have I seen such a weak Celtic forward line. James Forrest, we all know that this is James Forrest last season. We're all hoping that James Forrest can just stay fit enough to score that one and only goal that he may score this season in the league, so that he can say that he's scored in 17 seasons playing for Celtic. Is that really acceptable? Is that where we really see the club? People in Scotland are laughing at us because we're a sad shadow of ourselves. And then you get people saying, bring back people that are out on loan. This is the people who are out on loan. Rocky, brought in for over £4 million. Dud, setting out on loan. Stephen Welsh comes through the academy, deemed not good enough for Celtic by Celtic fans. Wants out the club, wants it away for game time. Adam Montgomery, similar to Stephen Welsh, coming through the system, not given a chance in first team football. Injured at Livingston. Ultimately, will not have a career at Celtic. Let's be honest. If he does, let's hope it's a good one. But the trajectory that we see of players like Adam Montgomery have come through the system at Celtic, he will not be a Celtic player for the best part of his career. Odom Ohm, unfortunately, he was just... he's got his own story. And then there's a Lewis Palmer situation. Brought in to be a fantastic winger. All players that we didn't want at Celtic. 5 players that we thought are absolute shite. Let's get them at the end of, let's get them out of the club. And now we're talking about, let's bring them back. It shows you how far that we've went as fans. It shows you how bad that we are when we need to bring back people like, and it's no disrespect to Stephen Welsh, because I actually like Stephen Welsh as a player. I think he gives his all. I think he's just been unlucky with his time at Celtic. He's had some when he's been 100% fit, he's had some fantastic defenders in front of him. And when he's had his chance, he's got injured. It's funny how he's went to Motherwell and he seems to have been doing okay this season. But anyway, Murray cost us 3 goals in Hearts in Europe. Cameron Carter-Vickers, own goals. Liam Scales, own goals. Stop picking on players because they're Scottish. Stop picking on players because they're young Scottish lads coming through the system. We're, and this is us all as Celtic fans. We always do it. And I just think it's time to, I bet you, Funkman, if you could live in Dane Murray's shoes for 1 week, training at Celtic, potentially being in the first team at Celtic, you would give everything. You'd sell your mother for it. Anyway, let's move on to some of the chat. Ralston's a bombscale, says Michelle. It's the new manager asking to play Scales away up the park. Yeah. It's like saying graffiti on the wall. Ralston's an imposter as a pro footballer. Come on. How? What? No, I'm not having that. Not a chance. How many of yous, think back, Ange Postecoglou, Tony Ralston scores a goal in the 95th minute, header, and everybody's calling him a fucking saviour. Yet all of a sudden he's an imposter. This is why so many players just go, fuck that. Why the fuck would you fucking play at Celtic? Why the fuck would you sit and you go into social media And you go, I don't need this fucking shit in my life. I'm just doing my job. You do my job for 5 minutes. Ball bag. Big Ralston getting it fucking, oh, you. Fucking throat punch you the new. Do you know what I mean? And these guys are living the dream, but we always give the Scottish players the most fucking stick. It's not their fault that we've never brought through 10 Kieran Tierney's, 10 Callum McGregor's. It's such a modern thing, and social media is so bad for it. It is so bad for it. We couldn't beat you in the cup in Kelly's pitch. Players are up for it. Yep. I agree, Michelle. Ralston stinks the place out. Don't say that. It's not disrespectful, just honest due to injuries. Nancy going to change everything tomorrow. I'm dreading the lineup. I'm looking forward to it, Lauren, because it's going to be like I might just can we just get fucking pissed on air? Just get a bottle of whatever. Just go fuck it. Fuck it. Jock Steen couldn't manage this team. Well said. Well said. Who'd take McCowney's shite? Wow. Michelle. No, it wasn't. That's all. The sooner AJ returns, the better. You're going to play my centre back and still Salah up front. You'd be as well. How's the Jota situation? Jota's sitting like he's sitting on the sideline going, "Nah, man, my injury's fucked, mate. I'm not going to be back. I'm not back till the summer. Fuck. If you're a Celtic player, if you're an injured Celtic player, if you're an Ali Johnson, if you're a Cameron Carter Vickers, if you're a Jota, are you rushing back into this shit show? Be real. There's not a chance. No football player worth their salt is running back into this shit show. Fucking, do you know, visor down, fucking head on. There's not a chance. If you're injured, you're going, I'm not ready yet, boss. Fuck, not ready yet. Fuck that shit. I'm nowhere near ready. I'm not coming on to play for your team, mate. This is shite. You seen the fucking fans going away at half time. I'm not coming on for that shite. Nancy's arrogant. Yeah, listen, he is. Nancy is. He is coming across as very arrogant and very Brendan Rodgerish type, single-mindedly. Now, when a manager comes in and he's single-minded, and that's fine when you're getting results, and when you can be laser focused. This is the way we're doing it, right? This is the way we're doing it. It's fine being like that if you're getting results and you're winning. You've changed a few things. But Nancy coming in and saying, "Oh, I'm only changing a few nuances." Fuck off, mate. We can all see that you've changed the club. You've changed. Schmeichel taking corners soon. Oh God. Ross Desmond. Baz, he takes over from his dad in the summer with the shares. Do you think that we have a chance we can get rid of him and make him sell the shares? No. And unless you're going to give these, the difference between the Irish and, say, you've got a young posh kid from the UK who's took over the family estate. The difference is family estates is generally handed down through generations of imperialism. Dermot Desmond has been a grafter throughout his years and has accumulated his wealth himself. He's not second generational, it's not old money. He's not. Dermot Desmond doesn't come from old money stock. It's all self-generated. His son, you could say, is next gen, so he can maybe look at it's old money. But by all accounts, he's kind of Celtic daft and he wants the best for the club. Maybe he's the one, once his dad takes a step back and he doesn't have to listen to his dad and he's not getting the fucking the written messages from his dad of what to say, maybe then that is the time that you get rid of the Lawwells. Maybe he thinks that he wants a younger generation like him. That's where I would be putting pressure on Celtic, is getting to the next generation, the Ross Desmond scenario. And it's ultimately something that we've never thought about as fans. Maybe there's a lot of fucking really intelligent people that support Celtic. There's a lot of fantastic businessmen that support Celtic that are of the same generation. I know loads of guys that are worth, that have built up businesses from scratch and that employ 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Those are the type of people that we need to be getting in contact with Ross Desmond, so that post Dermot, that we then have a scenario of saying, let's change the Celtic board. New, young, dynamic business people, forward thinking, social media savvy people that know that not to talk to the mainstream media and take Celtic TV to that next level. Yeah, get rid of fucking TV deals and have it all in house. Maybe that's the way that we need to go. Maybe it's not about getting rid of Dermot Desmond. Maybe it's about seeing out the time where Dermot Desmond takes a step backwards, retires, passes over the shares to his son, and maybe that's the inroad. And if that's the way that we've got to go, that's going to take a longer than just a few months, isn't it? But maybe that's something that we've never thought about. Be able to go in and getting people that are on the same level, because ultimately Ross Desmond's working with a load of fucking old guys. It's all Blazers. It's all fucking Tory cronyism type stuff. I'd rather 10 guys walking into the AGM. Never mind fucking, you've got to wear a fucking suit. You've got to wear the green tie. You've got to wear fucking brogues. Fuck off. I'd rather have half a dozen guys coming in and go, right, this is how it is. This is the way that the business went over the year. This is what we've done good. This is what we've done really bad. Hands up, we've done it bad. This is how we're going to rectify it. And I think that bringing in a new, younger, modern generation of executives would ultimately give you that. Because when I look at the Celtic board just now, there's no difference between the Celtic board sitting in the director's box now compared to the directors that sat in the Celtic box in the 1990s. Old men in suits. Something that we never wanted to go back to. And ultimately, we've got old men in suits running the club again. Maybe that is the way forward. You never know. To anybody that would be willing to do that, Ross Dermott is a coward. We have serious issues at Lennoxtown, hamstrings. People that I know that know football say that hamstrings are quite a thing with the modern game, so we'll wait and see. Watch Quinny analysis of the game today. Spot on, helps a bit. There we go. Quinny getting a little shout out. Wouldn't put it past the board to take the money and bank it. Kenny is suffering from heartbreak from Martin O'Neill leaving. I think there's quite a lot of people suffering from heartbreak from Martin O'Neill leaving. But we do need to move on. Dyson made us stay until the end of the season. This one is still neck and neck with over 307 votes. 53% are saying yes, it's a good thing Dyson staying to the end of the season. 47% saying no. And I totally get the no side. Ross Desmond is already hated by a vast majority of Celtic fans for what he said in the statement. There's no going back from that when he takes over from his dad. I disagree with that. I disagree with the fact that there's no way back. I think that there is, and if I was Ross Desmond, say it happens the 1st of July. Okay, say we're talking about July comes next year and he takes full control of his dad's shares. So the first thing that you do is you call an AGM because he's got the power to do it. You call an AGM and right in the middle of July, first of July, first week he's in the door, you call an AGM and you have a sit down and an open and honest and frank conversation. And he can then turn around the fact that he read out a statement from his dad and he sits and listens to the fans. And he wants complete and full and frank and honest evaluations of where the club is at the current moment and where the club can go within the financial constraints. There's one thing that you're all forgetting. We get rid of the new, we get rid of the old, and we bring in the new. We're stuck with the same. The finances at the club are not going to improve because someone buys the shares. When they buy the shares, somebody walks away with that money. All they've got is control of the club. It's not like Rangers going bust for £1 and then you've got 20 million to invest in whatever. You've got 100 million to invest. They want their money back. It's the modern day. It's the modern way. So I think that there is a way back for him, but is he ultimately man enough to do it? Or is he ultimately against the fucking Fenians? And he's right down with the Guinness family. Kelechi's been out more than he's been a year in his contract. Yeah, that's true. Tony Bloom spends at Hearts in January. Could be the league. This board will only do lines. I didn't even want to think because Hearts have got 10. Hearts don't need Tony Bloom to spend his money. Hearts have got 10 million at the bank. Martin O'Neill transformed Johnny Kenny into a regular goal scorer. Disappeared at the moment. Yeah, it has that. Chris Commons, one of the best things that ever come for Chris Commons was his missus going up to Aberdeen on a certain bus that leaves from Glasgow, and we were all in the pub before the Aberdeen game, and Chris Commons, his wife, decides to get up on the pool table and start singing rebel songs. Now, while she's up on the pool table singing rebel songs, she decided to go, "Don't tell Chris about that." By that time, there's about 20 guys with mobile phones out going, filming her and sticking it all over social media. It was absolutely hilarious, and that was fabulous days. That was the good old days under Ronnie. Anyway, he's injured as well. So I don't know, no idea. Self-inflicted is the most. Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? We have caused this. It has been ourselves. It is self-inflicted, and I think that's what makes it harder. Don't know. You could accept it if it was Hearts had upped their game, which they have, and we were still playing good. But we're still playing the Celtic way of Ange Postecoglou, of Brendan in his first 3/4 of a year, Brendan 2019 scenario. If we were still playing like that, you could accept Hearts have got better. Rangers are coming back into it. But this is self-inflicted, like, I don't know where the end of it is. Highlander 67 is dreading tomorrow night. Bring back Rocky. You cannot be worse than what we've got. I have no idea what that says. It's probably offensive, so we'll take it down. What if we win 10-0 tomorrow? If we win 10-0 tomorrow, I'll buy you a bottle of vodka, a big bottle of Sambuca, and 2 dozen beers. There you go. Christmas said, "Do you really think Celtic will lose at Tannadice tomorrow night?" And Wilfred Nancy will be gone on Thursday. No, I don't. because the board will stick it out. We need to stop thinking backwards and start moving forward. New things, bigger things. Yes, we do. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to start the conversation with. It's okay wanting change of boards and change of people out the club, but I've been dropping this into videos over the last week or so that we need alternatives, and it's do you know it's to think bring back Martin O'Neill. Yeah, that's a short term plaster. Sticking plaster that makes us okay at the end of the season. That buys the board time. All that does is buy the board time, and I don't want to buy the board time. But I don't know how to get rid of the current board. I don't know how to get rid of Dermot Desmond. Once you get the pack of cards scenario that Dave King spoke about, will never happen. But the pack of cards scenario that I would like to see happen is when you take away the ace and the joker in the room with the ace up his sleeve, which is Dermot Desmond, the rest of the cards fall. Take away Dermot Desmond, Peter Lawwell goes. Take away Dermot Desmond, Michael Nicholson goes. Take away Dermot Desmond, Chris Mackay goes. Take away Dermot Desmond, and Tisdale goes. But you have to bring people in that have a certain business acumen that can take us off, and that doesn't come cheap in these day and age. People are complaining about the money that Michael Nicholson is getting paid. How much do you think that it takes to bring in a top executive to deal with the finances and the running of a multi-million-pound club? You're not going to get somebody earning 200 grand a year doing that. Not at all. Not at all. And that's, I think, that's the reality that a lot of us are unwilling to think about. Do you know, it's like, well, fucking, why is Nicholson on 800 grand a year? That's far too much at Celtic. Well, you try and get someone to come in and do his job better than him for less money. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen at Celtic. Anyway, we're going to end up the poll for this evening. We've got 327 votes. 53% say is Dyson Media to the end of the season a good thing. 53% say yes. 47% say no. If we can get 2 more votes, get it to 330. Well, we get it to 2 more. We'll just end it. So that is the poll finished for this evening. Let me just do a quick check. A lot of people saying that Celtic should play a 3-4-2-1 tomorrow. Just try to see if there's any updated Celtic news. Nothing new. Nothing new this evening. It's been absolutely fantastic to be back doing lives after a little sabbatical, after a little holiday back in the homeland. And with over 1,750 people on the live this evening, I want to say thank you very much to every single one of them. I want to say thank you very much to the Super Chats. Danny Cassie, Celtic Girl Jota, Welling United fan, Danny Cassie again, Stephen Johnson, Danny Cassie, and Barry T 8913, who says Nancy's too freaking arrogant in his post-match interviews. I kind of get that, and he is that. But do you know what? With over 827 comments tonight on the live, thank you to everyone who has commented on the live. If I haven't read your messages, apologies. If somebody wants to come in and read out the comments during the live, feel free to apply in the comment box somewhere. Anyway, I feel sorry for Nancy. He's obviously not qualified. Who will play right wing back tomorrow? No idea. No, I don't even want to think about it. I'm not even thinking about formations. With this manager, there's no point, is there? Anyway, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans. The last night is exactly... There's no replacing Nancy at the moment. Are Celtic becoming a poison chalice? Let's talk about that tomorrow morning. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, especially you guys. Yeah, you guys, because you've stayed right to the end. Thank you. Have a fantastic evening, wherever you are, all around the world.